everybody. It's me, Dee, who forgot to put her microphone on again.
As usual.
And so, welcome to Free Flow Friday. It is me, Demetra K. I'm sitting here with Donovan, the Black Yule, Brenner Sadiq, and we are going to get into Malcolm X and Politrix. Not politics, but Politrix. Because obviously we're in election season. A whole lot of things have gone on. I'd like to say hello to you guys on Facebook, the Ride or Die audience, the other part of the conversation, to YouTube. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel for more insightful commentary. And to those on the podcast, what up?
What up? What's
So,
going on?
Anyway,
Before we start,
sure.
How was your week?
It's hectic.
Hectic. Meaning,
I got a lot going
a
on.
lot going on. Yeah.
Yes.
You were on national TV the other day.
I was.
Yes.
Yes.
So you guys that keep thinking that our show is it's just a little show. We're everywhere.
I'll tell y'all about that at another time. But so anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started. You want me to start or you want to start?
Yeah, you start.
All right, so I'm going to get started. So as you guys know, today is the day that Malcolm X was murdered. February 21st, was it 1965? He was murdered, and, I don't want to get into all the conspiracies and who did it and all that because we'll be here until next year trying to hash that out, if you will. So anyway, as I woke up this morning, I got on Facebook, and I automatically saw people making all these Malcolm X quotes and, this, that, and the other.
Fronting, basically.
Yeah, fronting. And I was like, you know what? Okay, whatever. So I put up a quote, and I said, my own quote, and I said, don't quote about it, be about it. Because there's a lot of people who are going to, talk about Malcolm all day. And so I went ahead and I wrote something up, and I want to read it to you guys. And so, again, hello to everybody. And we're going to get started. I just feel so out of whack because I'm so busy and my head is just
when you're sitting in traffic for 3.5 hours to move 15 miles.
Annoying. Sitting in traffic. I've been in traffic all week. I don't know how people go back and forth to work all week in traffic, but that's a whole other discussion. And thank you, Marcus, for everything that you do behind the scenes. We love and appreciate you so much for doing that. And I will get to every last one of your comments. So anyway, 55 years ago, today, El-Haj Malik El-Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X, was murdered. Now, I'm not one to commemorate the day that someone died, not even my own mother's death, because I just feel like it's a negative thing to focus on their death. I'd rather focus on their life, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel the need to do so today because I see so many people quoting Malcolm X on this day. And quite honestly, it irks me. Why? Because most of the people who quote Malcolm X are not doing none of the things that he called us to do as a people so many years ago.
Correct.
As Minister Farrakhan said, and you guys, Savior's Day is coming up on Sunday, this Sunday, so make sure that you tune into that on NOI.org, if you will. Mm-hmm. So as Farrakhan says, we have become quotologists, right? And that we're just running around quoting great people just to sound like we're woke or we're cool. Now, on today, February 21st, we see people lift up Malcolm's words, but we don't see them do the work. Frauds and phonies they are. And you know how we can tell that people are just all talk and no walk? Yeah, I'm going to coin that. All talk and no walk. Just look at the condition of our people. We are no better off today than we were the day he was murdered. In fact, we are worse off than ever. Malcolm was a black nationalist who was about the liberation of black people by any means necessary and was about building a black mighty nation. He was about black empowerment, black unity, black group economics. He was about doing for self, meaning freeing ourselves from the dependency of our oppressors. He was about knowledge of self. He was about taking back our political power. He was about us educating ourselves. I mean, I could go on forever, right? So, where are we now as a people today? We are not empowered. We talk and behave helplessly, but we want to run around hollering by any means necessary, right? We are not unified. Black men and women openly express our dislike for one another. Malcolm asked us to not air our dirty laundry in public. In fact, he asked us to put on a united front when we're in public. Don't put on in front of, white people and everybody to see us in such disarray. Let's handle that behind closed doors, right? For example, some black women are quick to quote, The most disrespected woman in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. But sometimes we don't even respect or protect ourselves. And some black men, just yet, brother.
Okay.
And some black men want to exclaim, black women, you know how to get them and you know how to keep them. But if you don't understand them, you won't keep what you got and you won't get what you have your eyes on. That's a quote by Malcolm X too. But they don't even understand themselves sometimes, they being black men.
Okay.
Overall, we don't practice group economics. We give today 97% of our $1.3 trillion away, but we want to accuse each other of thinking that the white man's ice is colder than ours, right? We are not doing for self. As we speak, we as a people are still waiting for the Democrats to save us. Hold on, don't get mad.
That's another part of the show.
Don't get mad. I'm just putting it out there. Speaking of Democrats, there's a many a Negro that will go to the voting polls to vote blue no matter who, right? We've heard that a lot. Let's vote blue no matter who.
Dummies.
But because it's the lesser of two evils, right? That's what we say, oh, we got to vote for the lesser of two evils.
Still evil.
But didn't Malcolm X tell us that voting for the lesser of two evils is still choosing evil? Malcolm said, a ballot is like a bullet. You don't throw your ballots until you see a target. And if that target is not within your reach, keep your ballot in your pocket. So basically, don't vote for the lesser of two evils because, again, is still choosing evil, right? Make sure we're getting something back for it. Now, we run around talking about knowledge of self, but many of us embrace the false idea of white supremacy in regards to the false narratives about us. Malcolm told us that a race of people is like an individual man, unless it's its own talent. Unless it uses its own talent, takes pride in its own history, expresses its own culture, affirms its own selfhood, it can never fulfill itself. We don't educate ourselves. In 2020, we are still crying about the white school system treating us unfairly. In a white school system, our children can't even wear their own natural hair. Okay? Now, but we are so quick to moan, who taught you to hate yourselves? I mean, who taught you to hate the texture of yourself, your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? To such an extent, you bleach to get like the white man. Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to so much that you don't want to be around each other? Now listen. If quoting Malcolm X was all that we needed to do to be as successful as a people, we would have our stuff together, period, point blank. So let's stop talking and let's start walking by any means necessary, right? Let's talk. Because I study Malcolm X, and so like I said, I get annoyed when I see people, by any means necessary, the most unprotected, and it's like, but you ain't doing none of that.
Wait, but I got the shirt.
And?
I got the hat.
And?
I saw the movie.
Okay.
Isn't that enough?
No.
Why not?
Are you doing the things that Malcolm called us to do so many years ago?
No, I could get killed.
So it's just fashionable.
Yeah,
it's just cute.
Heck yeah.
You just woke.
I look. Looks good. Look, I got the glasses.
Right.
Look.
Yes, you got the glasses.
Good.
But are you seeing through those glasses what he wanted us to see?
Well, no, because this good white man, the way we've been treated out here, this is it. That was a movie. That wasn't real. Yeah, that wasn't real life, was it? But that's how a lot of these Negroes think. Yep. Seriously.
Yep. So it's like, I'm going to talk about it, but I ain't going to be about it,
About it. It's fashionable at the time, like Black History. Shouldn't Black History be all year long?
No, just 28 this year's 29
days.
So hello, Facebook. What's happening, Tay? Tay, and then my niece Tay says, please give Mia a shout out. She's so very happy to see you. Hey, baby. Miss Mia. That's my baby niece, my great niece. She is a handful. She is like the Energizer Bunny. This girl, I mean, wow. She just, I think about her sometimes. I'm like, she's not from here. Because, she's from here, but she's just like, she's been here before. Cause she likes to do her own thing, and she just like leave me
Like
alone.
Deja Vu, like Tina Marie.
Just let me go do me.
I've been here
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus is sharing the link. So if you're in the watch
you.
parties, please come over to this side and comment so that I can actually see your comment. And hey, Emika, it says it's nice and cool. All right. What's happening, Jonelle? What's going on?
Yes.
And Tay says she's waving. Hello, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so
How cute.
it just really like. You think about somebody like Malcolm X, who indeed, I don't want to say he gave his life, but perhaps
pretty
he
much
did.
gave his life.
It was
yeah.
taken from him.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that he'd wanted to be alive still. You know, Malcolm would have been 95.
Mm-hmm.
In March, he'd been 90. I mean, not May. He'd have been 95.
Yeah. Do you think he would have enriched himself like all the rest of these so-called Negro leaders?
No, you know, Malcolm X died poor.
Poor.
Yeah, he died penniless. Right. But it's sad. It saddens me because Malcolm X did and was doing the work, and he impressed upon us as black people to, as Marcus Garvey did, "Up, you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. Stop waiting on the people who are oppressing you to stop oppressing you. That's never going to happen." And so here we are, 55 years later, 2020. We are still. As I said, I wasn't there in 1965, but I would imagine we're worse off.
What do you mean? Imagine we're worse off. We're 12 years away from damn zero.
Well,
ring the alarm.
But I'm saying,
you know what I mean?
Because there's some people who would say, no, we're fine, everything's good, And as I said too, and I don't see any more comments.
Let's do the numbers.
Sure.
Go ahead. No. I'm just saying, let's do the numbers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Andrew Yang put it out there. With automation taking jobs, if the black folks are at the bottom of this economic system, even though we're at the top of the consumer part of it, we're at the bottom of the manufacturing part of it, making jobs and all that other stuff, and the numbers say we're 12 years away or so.
A slave.
From zero. And if you're at zero, you are a slave. You are now a problem of the United States.
Right. Yeah, and so we are not any better off. We're worse off. Especially that is political season, if you will, election season, I guess, to be more technical. Election season. Malcolm asked us, as I said earlier, not to vote for the lesser two evils, vote blue no matter who. He also was very adamant about the Democrat Party not being the party for black people at all. In fact, he said that the Democrat Party is worse because they pretend to be our friends. And so we also know that and I don't want to get into your topic.
No, go right ahead.
The Democrat Party needs black
Dummycrats.
In Donovan's words, they need black people in order to get ahead.
To win it all.
And so they're going to continue to lie to us. But he warned us that years and years and years ago that's what they do. They lie to us.
The liberal.
Right, and yet here we are. You got somebody like Michael Bloomberg, who is highly being considered by black people.
Well, this is kind of going into my topic a little bit.
We'll save it because I don't want to.
No. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I've told you guys many a times that these people. How can a lifelong Democrat run as a Republican and become president? How can a lifelong Republican run as a Democrat and expect to win? He's probably gonna. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what's the difference? If you can easily cross over in those ideologies.
Ain't that what Trump did?
The only thing that they have in common, the ruling party.
Money.
And this is what I've been telling you. That's the party that matters.
Right. Hey, Ronald, what's happening? He said there's a lot of things that our people fail to realize that it's more important. Oops. Said that is more. Realize that. Okay, wait. Let me start over. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of things that our people fail to realize that is more about the message that he tried to bestow his knowledge on to our nation. Absolutely, he did. He tried up until he was getting ready to give a speech to black people when he was murdered. So up until the time that he died, that's what he was doing. And I saw Sean King put something up, and I thought it was. I just love what he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, we were taught that Martin was the good one, and I'm not saying Martin wasn't.
Right.
and that Malcolm was the bad one.
Yeah, you got to have an axle.
Yeah.
Yin and a yang.
Yeah, he was the bad one, but Malcolm was really trying to empower black people to do for self and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't even about hating white people as they have tried to tell us and sell us. It was about black liberation at the end of the day. But a lot of us won't get that message. There's a lot of us still thinks that Malcolm X was the bad one.
Well, the thing is, what I got after dealing with Malcolm and stuff like that was he was trying to say economically, if you don't have any money in your pocket, having social, as we see now, having social graces to go to the toilet next to a white person doesn't better my situation in life.
Right.
So,
well, that's the idea we were sold, the false idea of civil rights. And Malcolm also said that before you get civil rights, we need human rights. Black people were not and still are not thought of as human, and so we need to be thought of as human first, not just really among white people, but amongst ourselves before we try to go get civil rights. I mean, it's great, but if you're not thought of as a human, it's like that's just kind of secondary. And Jonelle, what's happening? He says, lip service is European Zionist-owned America's way of those past and present shows, as in the case of Malcolm X, when you walk the walk the talk rather, live the truth, that's when you see the reality of those who are truly about that life. Majority of blacks only lip profess as the white nation does. We only tread in the pit of our pitiful condition under the illusion of inclusion, to our demise, pacified under the imagination of progress with zero self-production as a people and a black nation. Yeah, and like you said, it's just all lip service. We, as Farrakhan said, my dad told me, this is what Farrakhan said rather, we're quotologists. We run around just quoting stuff. We just quote, but we have nothing to back it up. We're just making all these, it's like, okay, that's great. But what are you actually doing those things? Are you actually doing the things that the ancestors that gave their blood and their life, are you actually doing the things they called us to do? Right. And Tetra, you say money.
It's all about the money.
Absolutely. And Jonelle, you say when we vote, it's for white sovereignty with the hope that they will look out for us as dependent black nation. When we work, it's to the benefit of white sovereignty with the hope of a little more allowance and allowances as black people. We have yet to think and work to build our own black sovereignty. Donovan and his cat.
Well, the cat's tail is getting on my mics and all that other
Which
good
cat?
stuff.
This is T'Challa.
This is T'Challa.
Okay.
The stray cat. He's stray. He's a stray cat. He's stray. Feral. He's a feral cat.
Yeah. So to your point, yeah, when we vote, it's not to benefit us, it's to benefit them. Of course, they'll come, sing and dance, and tell us everything we need to hear. But when it comes time for them to get what they need, it's like, yeah, okay, black people, whatever. Could have had a V8. You should have had a V8 instead of coming in here and voting for us, right? And Al says, I was in awe when I found out Brother Malcolm was 6'6". Yeah, he was tall.
Oh, he's a tall brother.
Yeah, he was tall. And
he wants to be famous. So, come on, man. Get down.
Yeah, he was tall in stature, if you will. So, Donovan and his pet kingdom.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So, I guess I really want to spend the next couple of minutes talking about is what do we need to do to move the ball forward and actually start doing some of the things that Brother Malcolm called us to do. When are we going to stop being quotologists and actually start doing stuff? Actually start putting the action to the words, right? Because like Donovan said, we're roughly 12 years away from being zero in wealth, right? As they say, we talk about this all the time, we're an average black household. Now we know that's not every black household. It says on average has about 15.
Individually, we do well. On an individual basis.
Individually.
Right, but as a whole and a collective, we are in dire straits, and we should be alarmed right now and paying attention to who we're going to vote into office. With 12 years, how many terms is that?
With 12 years, that's 3.
3 terms.
That's 3 terms. So we are on the verge of extinction, if you will. Let's think about it. Back in the 60s when Malcolm was around and, talking to us, we were still roughly about 12 to 13% of the population, and we're that now.
We're still that now.
We're still that now, and so you ask yourself, do the math. Have things changed? Have things gotten better for us? If they've gotten better for us, our population would be more, our wealth would be more, we'd have more everything, but we don't have, we have less of everything.
Right. If you guys watched the debates the other night, they said Michael Bloomberg, wealth by himself, he has more wealth than 125 million Americans.
And I'm not mad at him
No.
because he's self-made or whatever the case is,
Sure.
but
That's a problem.
it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem because, especially the way things are going now, as far as tax cuts and all that, is to benefit the wealthy, and they just keep, we can go on forever about that. And let's see, and teacher, you say we can start by shifting our consumption to black-owned businesses, ton of them online and Facebook. Absolutely, that's a great way to do it. Brother Malcolm talked about group economics. Helping building businesses and going and buying and circulating the dollars back and forth into black businesses, black communities. We still overall struggle to do that as black people. We try to find any and every excuse not to do it, but to your point, there's a lot of black owned stuff online, Facebook online, but we need to have them, like I want to be able to, as a black woman, walk out the store, out the house, and go to a black store. Now, I don't want to have to go, 60 miles, because that's roughly where the nearest black grocery-owned grocery store that I know of is. It's like in L.A., Compton somewhere. I live in Riverside. That's an hour, 2-hour drive for me, depending on when I leave.
Right.
One way. Now, if I'm in the neighborhood, yeah, I'll go over there, but the point that I'm making is if we were collectively practicing group economics, we would have stuff everywhere. We wouldn't have to solely depend shopping online. But, if that's where it's at, we should do that. Al says, oh, my God, kissing the wrong putty cat.
No, I'm kissing the right booty tat. Trust me.
So, yeah. So, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to not just move the conversation forward, because I think at this point we've all talked a lot, but what can we do to actually make a difference? What can we do? What do you got, Donovan?
Well, again, if you see, another thing is we don't pay enough attention to the people that make decisions for us, and we're talking about on a local level when it comes to politics. And it kind of interwoven what I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So you'll find that you've got people at City Hall that, we talk about redlining, and, it's funny how they only, or when it's a self-interest type thing, oh, my house, they're redlining me out of this area. Well, why aren't there any black businesses? Have you ever thought that maybe they're redlining us out of businesses?
Well, yeah, we know it's systemic in institutions, for sure, yeah.
So, knowing these things, why are we voting people in that aren't addressing these issues?
Because we just need to get rid of Trump.
Is that all?
Yes.
But
we need to get rid of Trump.
But wait a minute. When Obama was in there for 8 years, I could name you 1,000 things Obama did for black people. Wasn't for him. He made playing basketball in the White House cool.
You know what?
You know what I mean? Bowling, cool again. Him and Joe Biden getting out of the beast, the limo.
Cool again.
Cool again. His swag as he walked. You know what I mean? Now,
did that do something for you?
It made me feel good.
It feel good?
It made me feel good, but...
Is that how typically black people, we get caught up in feelings and symbolism?
That's what we get in symbolism. But now, after the 8 years is over, oh my God!
This nightmare!
Yeah, oh my God!
Boogeyman!
What happened?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right.
So...
And Tay, you say, we need to get more involved in politics ourselves. We need to mobilize in our communities and remind people how important their actual vote is. Instead of focusing so much on presidential elections, we need to put more focus into midterm elections. Absolutely. Because that's more on the local and this state level. It actually affects us more. But absolutely, we do need to mobilize. And a lot of times, and we talk about this a lot, we think that's going out into the world. Let me put on my cape, and I'm going to save everybody. But what about saving the people next to you?
No. And we got to get away. I was watching CNN and MSNBC this morning. I was getting ready to go to my physical therapy, right? And on a black show, they had a Hispanic congressional member telling the Negroes on the show what they're going to do about DACA and the DREAM Act and all this other stuff. Now, please do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not mad at them for doing what we should be doing for ourselves. When a Hispanic or an Asian practice group economics, how can you be mad at them for doing something that we should be doing also?
Oh, and the problem with that is, so when they practice group economics, guess where else they practice the group economics?
In our community.
In our community. And then we get mad, oh my God, they over here, but you won't stay out of the stores.
Right.
You won't stop giving them all your money. You won't say, okay, well, we have a little black business here. Let's all go over there. You want to go over here, and where people aren't. I mean, it's just a nightmare. Instead of just like we got to get our heads right. You know?
Exactly. Think about it, Dee. And we indeed talked about this last year. Where can you go as a business owner and set up shop, choke the shit out of your customer, treat them like shit, feed them bad food? You guys see those episodes of The Simpsons where Apu and he's feeding bad food and Homer still buys it and eats it and gets sick and shit like that? Where can you go to do that? Only in the black community, because if you tried that shit in the white community, the Asian community, the Hispanic community, they would close you down.
Well, how many liquor stores and pawn shops and stuff you think is in Beverly Hills?
0.
Probably next to 0.
Yeah, next to 0.
I mean, yeah.
Their liquor store is called Gucci.
Yes.
You know.
Bevmo.
Yeah, Bevmo.
They got Bevmo.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it's a little different.
Well, we got, ABC Liquor.
No, yeah, we got ABC Liquor or Killam Schlitz.
Yeah, you're right. All of that, So, Malcolm X talked about that as well. He says, we allow them to do that. Come in our community, suck everything from our community, and we just, like The Walking Dead, we just keep going along with it.
But why do we allow our black representatives to cape for other folks? If you guys have been watching my Twitter feed, there's a guy named Mark Takano. He's been representing here since 2012. He got elected in 2012, and I helped him get elected. Yeah, I did. The motherfucker bought right in, okay? But anyway, this man capes for the gay community. He posted something about the Asian internment of the Asian.
They're going to apologize.
Right, yeah, California's going to apologize because, his grandfather was probably interned or something like that. Don't paraphrase me. So if you've been watching, I've been telling him, well, you got black constituents here. When are you going to start talking about the issues?
Well, he was at the Black History Parade.
Yeah, let's be nice. Hi, nice day, isn't it? Do you see? We got to start holding them accountable to take care of business in the 41st district. Okay, another thing that he said, real quick. He put something about fracking is just a bad thing and whatever, right? And fracking is. That is a bad way of mining, however, whatever they do. There is no fracking in the 41st district, people. Why is he caping for something that has nothing to do with his own district? We got problems here. We've got bad air quality.
Well, maybe he should run for something national.
Yeah.
Instead of...
join the cabinet.
Right.
And do something. And that's what I'm talking about. We've got to start. And so I've been, pointing him out on these things. And the funny thing is, some of the very people that I know that are Republicans are like, yeah, you're right, Donovan. Why is he worried about? Fracking is, but it has nothing to do with the 41st district. We're in California.
Right.
Nothing to do with it.
Right.
And we keep electing these idiots.
Yep. And Jonelle says, our economic must move for our black economy. We must move as a collective in what we build and what we support. And we must educate our youth in the way of self-production skills and mathematics. Absolutely. I was actually speaking to someone earlier, and he's been trying to educate his mother on the politics, because our parents and
I've given up on my mom.
It's like trying to talk to a brick wall. And I say, the best way to change what's going on is, I say, educate your kids so that they don't end up being
for the
mom.
next generation, right?
Right, so they don't end up being so stubborn like your mom. Teach them what's going on now. And so to your point, we need to empower our youth. Pull them away from the televisions and all the distractions and sit them down and teach them what they need to know, because they're going to inherit. If not, I mean, they're already being affected by it. My sister, God love her, yesterday.
I know I do.
She calls me, and she called me twice, as a matter of fact. She calls me twice because she says on her way home, she's a teacher. She sees this little black girl, can't be no more about than 8. Says she sees her walking home from school by herself, and she goes, I don't know what to do. She goes, what should I do? I said, I think you should slowly follow her home, knock on her door, her mom's door, and say, hey, I see your child walking home by herself. Do you know that sex trafficking, as far as black women and children, is at an all-time high? I would just hate for anything to happen to your daughter. Is there any way somebody could pick her up? She, and she, was concerned, well, what if they get froggy with me at the door? I said, well, put your dukes up.
Well, Well, I got to get a great advice for Amanda. Watch the episode of Malona and Chip Fields and Penny.
God.
And Penny, you guys remember that episode?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the same scenario. She was concerned and get involved.
So the second time she called me, and I'm going to get to you guys' comments, the second time she called me was the same day yesterday. Mm-hmm. She was driving home, and she says a little boy about 12 years old. She said it was 3 police officers. He was on his bike. He was stopped by 3 police officers. So she said she pulled over and said, hey, young brother, you all right? And she said he was, kind of like, he said, I don't know. He's scared. He has a backpack. Said they're going through his backpack. And they told her, this doesn't concern you. You can leave. She said, anytime a black boy is being harassed by police officers, it does concern me. And she says, I'm not leaving.
That's a good point.
Until he's okay.
That's a good point. And again, I asked you this earlier this week. I'll be on my Twitter timeline and all this porn jumps on there and I don't even request it, right? Mm-hmm. We can do all that craziness, twerking and stuff. When you see a black person being harassed by the police or investigated by the police, take your phones out and start recording immediately.
That's what she told her. She told him, she said that anytime I see a black boy and police officers, it is my concern.
Yes.
And she said she didn't leave and they let him go, mm-hmm. And I said, big ups to you. Mm-hmm. I said, we can't be afraid to, help our young people. We she's a teacher, so that's what she does anyway. And then so, Al, you said, just like Minister Farrakhan, there are a lot of celebrities who love Malcolm. Yeah, I mean, they love Malcolm. And that's one thing if they're going to, because Malcolm took celebrities to task too. Malcolm said, Donovan's cat is doing something he ain't supposed to be doing. Malcolm was saying how, white supremacy, if you will, puts celebrities up for us to follow. They try to make celebrities our deities, our spokespeople. And so
how'd that work for Bill Cosby?
Yeah, well, he says they're not our spokespeople.
Right. Athletes are not our spokespeople. They're athletes.
And he talked about how a lot of times they go, talk to the man or to the White House, and then they come out and tell us, oh, he's all right.
Right, Sammy Davis Jr. Nixon's all right.
Steve Harvey was one of the latest examples. I know there's many, especially with the Trump administration, but he was the first one to go in there, and I'd go back again. Yeah, I'd go golfing with him.
Lost all his shows.
Yeah, he ain't said Trump's name in a good light since.
I think there was a thing where he said that was like a really big mistake.
I mean, come on, So, no, absolutely. And then Brandy, what's happening says right there, not paying attention to our needs. No, and they're never going to as long as we continue to just aimlessly vote for them in hopes of,
Well, look, again, 60 years of voting and our parents telling us vote Democrat, because that's pretty much why you are your political thing, because your parents were. You're taught, you're indoctrinated that, right? But if you look at it objectively and say, we've been doing this, and me and my mom can get into it, or I call them Generation Fail, because no matter how much their sacrifice is, that generation, they made rules that was good for them, and then they pulled that ladder up for our generation. Because think about it, leadership for Generation X basically skipped over us because our parents won't leave their jobs, they won't leave.
Or they were able to because before civil rights they couldn't drink and eat.
Right.
So now that they're able to do that, a lot of them, and I'm not trying to shade the older generation, but they feel like that's an achievement.
No, and what they won't tell you, if you do the math, our generation, Generation X as a whole, we cannot afford homes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If you live out here.
There's no way you cannot afford homes without your parents' help. There's just no way it's going to happen.
Right.
Because there are no jobs. the pay's been cut. What's the first thing that gets cut? All this stuff, benefits at your company if you've been there for years and years, and we allow it. But in regards to Generation Fail, dealing with that entity of people, when you're indoctrinated and taught, look where it's gotten us now. 60 years of voting. Okay, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter. But 60 years of voting your non-interest. You're voting a Democrat. The Democrats could have said, we're going to start building Hitler ovens and we'll start putting niggas in it. Negroes overwhelmingly vote Democrat no matter what.
Right. And it's unfortunate.
Right, because we're not paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
I mean, you got senators and congressmen that vote on bills they've never even read.
Right.
If Trump is such a extramental threat to national security and stuff, why are they still sending him bills for him to sign and all this other stuff? Notice the tax cut for the rich. That got through.
Right. But
we can't get through health care. We can't get through all this
right.
other stuff. So we got to start, I'm telling you, vote your interest. I don't care if it's on the Republican side, whatever, but we got to break this Democrats, I'm going to vote Democrat. It isn't working. We are 12 years. We should be alarmed. That's why I'm wearing a red jacket. This is a warning.
Oh, is that why?
Well, that, and I think it reminds me of Eddie Murphy and Delirious.
Or David Ruffin?
David Ruffin. There you go.
Brandy, you say, why don't we have our own group when voting? Yeah, we should. We should have our own independent group. We should be independent.
We do have our own group, and they call themselves the Congressional Black Caucus.
No, we ain't talking about them.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying.
No. They don't represent black people.
Right, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. The way the system is put up, they're not going to allow that.
Well, we should. And that's what Malcolm X called us to do, as so many other leaders have called us to do. Let's form our own. Let's all get together and figure out who we're going to vote for as a block and do that. But we're so skewed. And to Donovan's point, a lot of black people just been taught. I mean, Al talks about it all the time, how when he'd be standing in line to vote, black people be running by talking about vote Democrat, go, all Democrat. He said, he's been taught, no matter what it is, go all down, vote Democrat. Everything Democrat. And it's like, why?
No.
Just because my mama did it, my grandmama did it.
Right.
Everybody did it, so you need to do it.
Or what's that stupid saying? People died so you can have the right to vote. Bullshit. That's bullshit.
They didn't die. They was murdered.
Right.
Lives were taken. Okay.
Right. They didn't die for me to vote.
Don't believe the hype. Okay. Nobody's went in there and said, I want you to kill me. And then this is the other thing too, and I'm gonna get you guys' comments because me and Al was talking about this the other day. Al and I.
Ooh, AI.
I hate when people say you as a black person need to go in there and vote because our ancestors died for the right for you to vote. That is bullshit. What they did and they died and was murdered for is for you to go and vote on your better interests. Go and move the ball forward. They didn't just say, well, okay, I died so you can walk into the booth, check the mark, and go out and not see that something was going to be, you're going to get something tangible. They wanted us to move the ball forward. And you think about the time when they was dying / murdered for our right to vote. Look at the stuff they were going through. And ask yourselves, how far have we gotten from that? Nothing has gotten better. So what the hell are you in there voting for? So as I, was explaining to Al, our ancestors' bloods were wasted in vain if we think all they did was die for us to go vote.
Right.
They died for us to go get something for that vote.
Tangibles, people.
Period.
Tangibles. You do not go into a store, Walmart, and say, here's my money, thanks a lot, have a nice day, and walk out. No, you want to.
Right, so stop telling that, please stop telling that lie, because what you do in your ignorance, and I'm going to get to y'all comments, what you do in your ignorance is that you teach your children that nonsense. You need to go in there because your ancestors died for you to right to vote. Stop perpetuating, because you don't even know what it is you're saying. You're just saying it because your mama and your grandmama and your granddaddies and all them told you that same lie. But you don't even know why you're saying it. You're just trying to guilt trip everybody else that's black into going in there and just doing it.
But what if I don't like the candidate and then I'm not a Republican? Then what should I do?
As Malcolm said, you keep your ballot in your pocket, because a ballot is like a bullet. If you don't have a target to aim for, then you keep your ballot in your pocket until you find something worthy of shooting at.
Right. Exactly.
And we talking about a battle, not real bullets.
Right. And
somebody getting their feelings.
Like I said, when you go to a store and you find something, you're just window shopping and there's nothing you really want to buy.
Take your ass home.
Yeah.
With
you
your
ain't
money.
spending the money. Yeah. You just leave.
Right.
Gone.
And Jonelle says, all right, our fight is against our number one foreigner, and that is our ignorance. That's nothing truly foreign, but our ignorance. We must awaken from the nonsense and toxic and face the reality of our own God-given abilities and self-empowerment as an intelligent black nation. Support that which elevates us and war against all and any that degrades us on any level. Yes, because, and a lot of times that's us. We're doing everything, like you said, to ourselves that the oppressor is doing as well, right? We just perpetuate that. And you also say, liberated minds do liberated things. Absolutely.
Well.
And then Al says it's a Bevmo in Moreno Valley.
Right up the street.
Hair all over the place, but they not in the hood.
Right. Well, Moreno Valley is pretty much.
Well, I'm talking about it's in the upper echelon of Moreno Valley.
Yeah. And that's another thing. When you're looking at gentrification in your neighborhood, if you guys happen to notice it, you need to be paying attention. Notice how they're cramming all these stores in such a small space, and Bevmo is one of the gentrification stores.
Yeah.
So you can't get a job, but they want to make sure that you're liquored up so that you're not paying attention to what's going on.
Right. And Jonelle says, we as a people got to stop being dominated by entertainment and ignorance above moral principles and intelligence. Yeah, turn the TV off sometimes. Just turn it off.
And if it's going to be on, put it on something intelligent.
Yeah, like I like to be entertained sometimes, I do, despite what Al thinks. I do. I like to be entertained. It's not all seriousness. But I like to, flood myself with information because I like to be able to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And Al said John Witherspoon was a cop on that episode of Good Times Down.
Yes.
Mentioned that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
And then Jonelle, you say majority love the concept of Malcolm X. Very few will strive to live his life and carry his torch. More or less study the teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or change their name. Most haven't even read Malcolm X's books and lectures. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, even the autobiography of Malcolm X, which, a lot of people say it is flawed because if you think about Alex Haley was, a lot of people don't even know this, but I'm going to give you guys a quick history lesson really quick.
Give it to us.
Alex Haley, he was the author of Roots. You guys know that he was sued for Roots because he plagiarized Roots. It was that story actually came from a white man, so they say. And the white man sued him and won in court. Alex Haley also was an FBI informant back in the day. Okay? So a lot of people are, because, there's a lot of people say there's a lot of holes and things in the autobiography of Malcolm X. It just doesn't make sense, and they kind of elude that the nation did it and all of that. But even if you want to, like most people haven't even read that book. Where you can, because I read it when I was 19.
Yeah, I read it even younger. I was like 17 or something.
Yeah, so
I'm going to tell you the first 2 chapters had me crying.
Yeah, so even some people haven't even read that. But yet you want to walk around talking about Malcolm X, study and understand what he was trying to do. We shouldn't still be here in 2020 having this discussion about, he said. Now let's talk about what he said that you're actually doing. And Al says, Janae Dubois, will you two elaborate on some of your favorite Will on a Good Time episodes?
Man, okay, well, I'll tell you what. Other than the Penny saga, which was to me, that was a awesome section, because that's when Miss Dubois became the lead actress, because Esther Roll had left during that season. I think it was season 4. Mm-hmm. The one where the shoplifting incident was going on, that was an excellent episode where she had to sit and she, her morals and her compass was like, no, I'm not doing this. This woman, her drawers are torn. I don't want to. That's her business.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah,
I did watch Good Times. I can't think of anything right offhand.
What about when they did the Supreme Stop?
Yeah, I watched Good Times, but what my parents didn't sit us in front of the TV all day. I watched Good Times a lot.
Maybe they should have, and you wouldn't be as militant as you are right now. That's right.
Hey, my daddy.
Yes.
Hey, Donald, what's happening? He says, yo, I'm on and listening. Thank you so much.
There he is. He sent me some a thing about a turboprop starter that I'm going to share with my class.
Cool. And Marcus, he said, there has to be a crossroads between us and them. We have to pick one thing and stand on it until victory is achieved, whether it be prison reform or reparations. But until we reach that or either point with America, we will continue to discuss one unsolved problem after the next. Let's pick something and stand on it to the end. I absolutely agree.
Yes, have you guys noticed that? If you watch the debates, because like I said, some Democrats, they said it was the best. you see all the memes and stuff. How she came for so and so, and Elizabeth Warren came for what's his name, Bloomberg, whatever the deal is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notice now that the field has leveled, they are not talking about reparations, prison reform.
You know why they're not talking about it? Because we ain't talking about it. You know what we talking about? We talking about Snoop, Oprah, Gail, and Dwayne Wade's son. Well, that's the stuff we talking about, Kelly. The low-hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about the stuff that's going to actually move the ball for us.
But notice when the debates had started, that's what they were talking about, like reparations, whatever it is.
Well,
and now there's no black candidates.
Because they know black people. Everybody knows black people but black people. They know overall that we are going to get excited about something. I mean, even the people who started the reparations conversation again, they're fighting with each other.
Right.
And so we're not talking about it anymore. So they're like, okay, the niggas ain't talking about it no more. Let's move on. You know what I'm saying? That's why. So I agree with Marcus. We need to get on one page and stay on that until that page is read, and then we turn the page and start reading or something else. So I agree with you. And let's see, and Jonelle, he says that was slain they were slain for having a desire of progress and independence beyond dependency, which they may have thought voting would give. Nobody voluntarily died to vote for their colonizers. Face reality, you don't see nobody voluntarily dying to go to so-called heaven.
Exactly.
Or not even a cockroach.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jesus or whatever. I'm not in a rush to get there.
But that's why I always ask that too. I mean, if people, if heaven is, such, I don't know, it might be streets paved with gold, and there's all this milk and honey, and everybody gonna be washed white as snow. Please leave me brown. I'm just saying, if all that is going on, why ain't people just be like, hey?
Yeah, shit, I'm done. Take me, beam me
I'm
up,
ready.
Scotty.
No, don't give me no medicine.
Right.
I know my blood pressure high, but you know what? Let me go. Let me go, because what I'm going to go to is just, why?
Well, remember when Jesus brought Lazarus back from the dead? He was raising those people from the dead? I didn't hear Lazarus say, what the hell you bring me back here for?
And did I ask you?
I was up there.
Worry about yourself.
Yeah. Don't bring me back here.
Right. We're biblically speaking,
Yeah.
Jesus hadn't died yet, and people were still in Abraham's bosom, and so,
right.
That's what somebody will argue the Bible with you, Anyway, and Al says, speaking of ancestors, will you share the story about your mom and your baby niece? Yeah, so my baby niece, Lily, I have a picture of my mom in my room, and she'll come in there, and she'll get the picture, and she'll give it a kiss, and she'll hug it, and she'll put the picture by the window, and she's like fascinated by this picture. And I said, you ain't gonna tell me the ancestors ain't still walking around, not walking around, but just the energy is here, because my mom, my niece has never met my mom. My niece is only one. My mom died over 3 years ago. But she's just so drawn to this picture. I mean, she puts it, I said, okay, well, grandma wants to look outside. Grandma, let grandma get some sun. But I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my siblings. I said, look, check this out. It's crazy, but then it's not,
Remind me before you go to give you a copy of that Mama Zulu video that I found.
And Al says that shoplifting episode when you're talking about Donovan, Cass Elliott played Walona's boss, and Gordon Jump from WKRP played her manager.
Right, absolutely.
And Jonelle says,
who's watching the Watchers?
How much time we got? Because I want to get to your segment.
You got about a minute.
And Jonelle says, right, Queen, a lot of people don't know that aspect of the European hand on the book and his murder, but we just released a new book called Didn't Y'all Kill Malcolm? I need to get that. I can't remember where I just saw it last week. I need to get that book, because, to your point, Alex Haley was more than likely a flawed individual. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear, but he more than likely was, And Jonah, you also say even Michael Jackson sang "Heaven Can Wait," okay?
Yes.
I don't want to leave my baby alone. Yes. He says, "Heaven can wait."
Yes.
That's one of my favorite songs by Michael.
Luther too.
Yes. Okay.
Heaven wait.
Yes. And then Travis, what's happening? It says even after the Pope got shot, he still wanted to live, and he was old.
Yes. Right.
Okay. You ain't lying.
Good point.
No.
Yeah.
I ain't ready to go.
Right. And how many people have in their will, do not resuscitate? It's
okay,
always,
yes.
Keep me on.
Bring my black ass back.
Right.
And then Jonelle says, right, Lazarus should have been pissed. You bring back from heaven to this crowd.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So those on the podcast, please stay tuned. We're going to come back with Donovan's segment talking about Politrix.
Politrix. So, go ahead and
all right.
keep
So
going.
yeah, and we're gonna actually transition to Donovan's segment. Yeah, he's gonna talk about the debates and all the stuff that's going on now because it's important for us to know that, right?
Mhm.
It's important for us to know because, like I said, a lot of us are just gonna go along with the get along. Just to just to say
Zombie.
I voted.
Mhm.
The ancestors died for us to vote, and I'm gonna go into the booth and I'm gonna vote.
Yeah, which is kind of stupid because you're actually exasperating the situation even further.
Like I said, it's wasted blood. It's wasted blood when you go in there and say, well, I'm just gonna go in there and vote because our ancestors died. But no, they did not die just so you can have the right to vote. And as I said, we also need to educate ourselves that we or black men rather, had the right to vote in 1866, a year after everybody was free. They had the right to vote. The Voters' Right Acts was about them not suppressing the black vote. So we've always had the right to vote. But the vote was to move the ball forward. We're supposed to be voting for things that actually help us as black people, not just to do it because it's symbolic. Keep your symbolism. Imagine how far we would be if we would all have gotten together and said, hey, let's actually. Let me know when you're ready to start.
I'm ready. Go.
Okay. So hello, podcast. We are back.
Yes.
And we are, this is me, Demetra K, and I'm here with Donovan, his bald head, Yul Brynner, Sadiq.
And here's the funny thing about the Yul Brynner thing. Do you know how many people asked me who was that?
Really?
I couldn't believe it.
Well, maybe they didn't watch a lot of TV or movies.
Well, there's one movie that everybody watched, The Ten Commandments. He played Ramses.
You know how old that damn movie is?
But it's a classic. It's a classic. And then, for those that know Yul Brynner, he also was in
The King and I.
The King and I. That's where his main fame came from. But he was in The Magnificent Seven with Steve McQueen.
I mean, come on now. That movie came out
And
before you
Westworld.
was born. And that was
Classics.
like 70 years ago.
Yeah, classic. But that guy was a class act all the way through. Kind of like myself.
Right. Is that what that is? Okay.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I am Donovan Sadiq, joined by the infamous Demetra K. And we are here on Free Flow Friday, and we are going to talk about the Politrix of the debate that actually happened, because as things have been simmering down, we're not talking about black issues. Notice that it's always about, why is it that the white issue is always first and the immigrant issue and everybody else but the black issue? 12 years, we are going to be a problem. So before we really get into it, if you like what you see here, like, share, comment, whatever you want to do, hit that like button down there and subscribe, because YouTube is taking people off when you guys get the message and you understand it. So again, welcome to the show. This is my part. Now, let's get into it. Shall we?
All right. Well, so let me go ahead and get to these, finish these comments, podcast. I'm going to finish these last comments. And so, let's see. This says, how come you guys have the audacity to sing that Michael Jackson song when you will not do the theme song to the show? Do it now. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, pretty woman. Wow.
I hate it here.
Yes.
I
got my bass in the.
I really do.
In the closet. I need to come in there. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh God.
Wow.
And, oh my goodness. And Marcus, you say, I really believe picking one thing and standing behind it collectively is the way to go. We can discuss everything up and down as we always do, but let's pick something and let's start having our conversation about what that specific one thing is and should be.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
Well, come up with something really quick so we can, discuss it and see if that's something we can all get behind. All 18 of us.
Yes. And you're right about that. She played Moses' wife.
Oh,
Beautiful lady.
the
Yvonne DeCarlo. Beautiful.
Yes,
woman. Beautiful
Lily
woman.
Munster.
Yeah,
that's what I call my little niece sometimes, Lily Munster.
Yeah, she was a Hollywood heavyweight back in the day. So.
Yes, and so Politrix. What is
Politrix?
Politrix? Politrix is actually a spin on politics, because we know there's a lot of tricks involved with politics. They call them, what do they say? Politicians lie, politicians.
Yeah, politicians.
They lie to get what they need. They're very self-serving individuals. And so we know that we are knee-deep in election season, and we've seen and heard it all.
All of it.
I mean, golly, it's just amazing, right? It's amazing the lies that are told. Now, the debate took place, was it Wednesday? I didn't watch because I was busy, as I usually am. It was busy. I was busy. And so what? How many Democrat?
There are now 6 candidates, and Michael Bloomberg, who spent over $300 million in advertising, he didn't make he qualified for the debate, but he's not on the ticket.
Okay.
In Nevada in the caucus.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's supposed to come in with his white hat and save the Democratic Party. If you guys actually think the Democratic Party gives a damn about democracy and all that other stuff, you are sadly mistaken, because they're showing us in every ounce of what they do that they don't care. They keep changing the rules to benefit the wealthy. So we're going to switch a so-called billionaire with a known billionaire, a lifelong Democrat with a lifelong Republican that have switched parties all of a sudden. And let's say if Michael Bloomberg does get the nomination, do you think he's going to turn on his own kind? I think another tax cut would, if I was rich, would sound good to me. Wouldn't it sound good to you?
Yeah, it sounds groovy to me.
So what would be the difference there? But here's the thing. When I say the Democratic Party is not for democracy, look at what they're doing and how they're doing it. Now, if you watch the debates, they talked about, okay, right now Bernie is clearly the front runner.
Right.
Okay, he's clearly the front runner. They asked the other 5 Democrats going into the convention, would you support the person that has the most delegates? No, we can't do that. No. All of them said that. You want to know why? Because like I've told you guys, and please open up your eyes and your mind. They don't believe in democracy. They believe in ruling and money and power. If we were in a true democracy and Bernie has all the delegates, then he should be the nominee, correct?
Right, but I make to throw this out to you. Bloomberg was actually put into the race to not beat Trump, but to stop Bernie. True or false?
True. Very true. Very true. Because that thing, and people don't understand this. The millennials are now the dominant voting group in the United States. I know the baby boomers, generation fail, want to stay on top and in power. What the hell is a 70-year-old man doing being president right now? That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Dead hands.
That makes no sense. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't have any good ideas, but what ideas has he been espousing? The same ones Reagan did in the 80s. Generation fail. The baby boomers are the most selfish generation ever. Every generation prior to them has stepped aside. They did their little 20 years at their company. They said, it's time for me to retire so my children can take care of their children. Okay? So, back to the Democratic Party. He's got the most votes right now. And if Super Tuesday comes in, he's overwhelmingly going to take over California and Texas, because they're on the same day. He's going to have the most delegates, but not enough to reach the so-called rule threshold that they've ruled, say, hey, this is where you're unchallenged. Everybody wants it to go to second ballot. What happens on the second ballot? Superdelegates.
Oh.
The superdelegates. Now, the will of the people is the first ballot.
Right. Oh, got it.
The superdelegates is the people in the back room saying, okay, we're going to pick our own guy, whatever. They want a brokered convention. Now, a little history lesson for you guys. Let's go back in time real quick. When Hillary Clinton announced she was running for president, how many superdelegates did she have? She had no opponent. How many superdelegates did she have?
I don't know.
She had over 500 superdelegates. How can you have that many delegates and you don't even have an opponent yet?
Well, so basically what you're saying is she was chosen.
She was chosen. They do not want Bernie to get the nomination. Now, here's what I want you guys to pay attention to. Bloomberg completely fell on his face at that debate.
No, he got his ass kicked.
Got his ass. I mean, they came out and stabbed him with knives from everywhere, right?
Like a prison shanking.
Right. But see, being rich, he said, I don't give a shit. I've got money. Right? Okay. Bernie is on his way to being the one with the most delegates. Who do you think now is their last ditch hope of stopping the Bernie train?
Hillary.
Oh, no. She ain't going to do it.
Bloomberg. Warren.
Barack Obama.
What the hell he going to do?
He's going to come out and he's going to be like, hey, let's go with Joe. You know what I mean?
Do you think he's going to endorse Joe Biden?
Yeah, he's going to. I'm not sure about Joe Biden. He's going to endorse somebody. But this is what I'm telling you guys. Open your eyes. If we're in a true democracy, one man, woman, one vote. We're not. They're selecting the winners and the losers. That's why they have the superdelegate system, because they don't want idiot Joe Sixpack there to decide the leaders.
Right.
That's they put this system in to ensure that they're going to stay in control. So as the Bernie train keeps going, they're going to try to scare you and say, well, socialism, socialism, right? Isn't it funny how Klobuchar and all these other people in Bloomberg, they keep saying, well, that's communism, socialism. But communism is a form of government. Socialism is a social thing. And they keep trying to tell you socialism is such a bad thing. But some of the most popular programs in the United States is socialist.
Yeah.
You guys heard of the Social Security? Have you heard of Medicaid? Oh, well, you can't take Medicaid away from everybody. I think Bernie has been saying Medicaid for all. Why aren't you hearing the all part?
Right.
And they're trying to scare you to do these things, right? So now their last ditch effort is going to be Barack Obama.
We'll see.
So mark my words today that I said that, because they do not want Bernie to get the nomination. And if Bernie does not get the nomination, these millennials are going to tear ass on the Democratic Party, period. And that idea of forming another party might come into fruition, because let's say it, what can we do as Generation X, and what can Generation Fail do? Absolutely nothing to stop them. They have no future. There are no jobs. These are the facts. And I know if you're a Strumpster, facts don't matter to you. I mean, as long as it's white supremacy, the facts, no, white supremacy is premier one. So that's where we're at. But again, why is this election important, and all elections important? On a national level, not really. On the local level, we are 12 years from zero. The only candidate that is talking about our thing was Andrew Yang. Now he's gone. Now, you got Bernie Sanders there. Now, am I going to vote for Bernie? No, I'm not. I'm not going to vote for Bernie. However, if he is the nominee, which they won't let him be the nominee, I would consider it if my vote is needed. But ask yourself this, you guys. Everything's numbers. If Trump supporters are a third of the voting electorate, the diehard Trump supporters are the third, how can a third of the country control the narrative of who's president and who's not? That doesn't make any sense if we're in a majority take all, right? So if he only has a third, because he's only polled, he's never gotten over 50% of the popular, whatever, in the polls. How can a third of the nation control who's president and who's not? These are questions you guys got to ask yourself. But forget the nation as a whole. I'm concerned about my people first, and that's the biggest thing. Self-preservation. Yes, Elizabeth Warren came out with knives and doing like that, but you know what? Elizabeth Warren is full of shit, because here's a white woman who claimed to be a damn Cherokee Indian or whatever she claimed to be, right? Got the benefits and the education and stuff, because once you get that, they can't take it from you, right? She's still a sitting senator. Let that have been a black person. Well, a good example, when they found out that Martin Luther King possibly plagiarized some of his papers, they still talk about that to this day to bring the guy's credibility down. Donald Trump's a liar, a thief, gangster, wannabe gangster, such and such, 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 right? Nobody's saying anything about that. See, white supremacy. We are in dire straits, people, and we have to start getting these bootlicks out of office and start putting in progressive people. Progressive Democrat, progressive Republican, I don't care. But the system that we are in right now, for the last 60 years voting, is not working for us. There has to be a change, and it's going to happen either drastically or the Republicans are going to have free reign. And I'm kind of really, in the back of my mind, wishing that Trump gets another 4 years, and after that another Republican comes after, because until the Democrats realize that without us and addressing our issues, they're never going to win ever again, then maybe they'll start taking us seriously and start actually addressing our issues. I'm sorry, people. There's more white people on food stamps than there are black people. Yeah, well, if I'm 50% of the population and you're 13, their population, by number, yes, they are more of them. However, if you look at our population of 13%, 70% of us are in poverty. There's a serious problem here, guys, and we've got to seriously start addressing it. And it just seems to me we're still popping and twerking, and nobody's paying attention until what did Malcolm X said? You won't realize the gas ovens are on. Then it'll be too late. Mm-hmm. They're constructing them right now. They're constructing right now. When we get to zero, which means technically, well, not technically, factually, you're a slave, we are no longer citizens. We are a problem that they are going to address. So think about it.
All right, brother.
What do you got to say?
Hey, you said it all. And Jonelle says, just think there was a law that feared us just being able to read, or
yes.
So our intelligence is feared. Just being illiterate, being illiterate, not illiterate, but illiterate. Mm-hmm. Being is a fear factor for those in so-called power. We as black people cannot afford, especially in this time, to be in a state of ignorance when the truth and awareness is our empowerment. Yep. And Al says, my favorite Yul Brynner movie was The Magnificent Seven and
yes.
Anastasia. Hey,
now,
Macy.
Remember, The Magnificent Seven was based on Seven Samurai, a Japanese movie. But go ahead.
Hey, Macy. It says, I say all get behind the 13th Amendment is that one thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
13th Amendment was the abolishment of slavery, mm-hmm. So they said, except for imprisonment, but we see how that's working out, right? And then, hey, Sydney, what's happening? He says, I'm not voting for Bernie. Well, who are you voting for if you don't mind us asking? And Al says, now you see how I feel, Al. And then Joe
I'll be hollering.
Jonelle says, the frog in the pot. Yes. That's how it is. The frog, the water's cool, and then eventually heats up, and then he's dead. But hey, Herbert, what's happening?
But what I hate about that frog in the water instance is you got those Negroes out there that says, well, I didn't know. You got a bunch of information on Google. We're out here sounding the alarm. And it's not just us. There's all kinds of channels out there sounding the alarm. And yet these niggas going to be like, well, I didn't know.
Right. And so like I said, I didn't watch the debate. I watched a lot of sound bites and stuff like that. So I want to talk about some of the candidates. Let's talk about Michael Bloomberg. Yes. Because to me,
billionaire.
I want to say it's a phenomenon that, before he jumped in the race, if you knew anything about Mike Bloomberg, he was the mayor of New York. He started a stop and frisk that harassed and terrorized a bunch of black and brown men.
Oh, and by the way, he was the mayor of New York 3 times, which goes against their constitution. But that shows you how gangster he was.
Yes.
He changed the law so that he could run a 3rd time, and then when he left, they changed the law back.
Correct. So anybody who knew about Mike Bloomberg even before he started to run would say, oh, he's a horrible person, and he is, because for the things that he did, and Sydney's saying write a vote in, Yang, you can do that. Yep. Michael Bloomberg is a horrible person for the things that he's done to black and brown men.
Bloomberg, would that be Jewish?
I don't know. But, so here he is, people are considering voting for him. When I say people, I'm talking about black people who, I don't know what that's about. Black people, sorry, I lost connection for a little bit. But black people who are saying, there's no perfect candidate. We need to forgive, right? We need to forgive. But
You can't do that.
How do you forgive a person that is terrorized? We talked last Sunday, and Sydney, who is in the tri-state area, talked about being stopped several times, even as a young child, under the stop and frisk movement, if you will. And so how is that something that's forgivable?
And the funny thing is Joe Biden called them out and said that 5 million black men were thrown up against the wall under the stop and frisk. And out of that 5 million, 93% of them...
95!
Oh, more than that. 95 were innocent of, nothing.
However... And so, yes, Mike Bloomberg should not be getting anybody's vote, and no, not our vote anyway, our as far as black people. But Joe Biden, he should not talk because Joe Biden did his thing too, as far as all those racist laws that he helped pass, the tough on crime movement, if you will, under the Bush and
Daddy Bush.
Yeah, and Clinton administration that harmed a lot of black people. And so, you know, if you think about it, Bloomberg and Biden, their stuff worked in tandem. It was they made it. Biden made it easier for a Mike Bloomberg to do the things that he did to black people. So neither one of them deserve our votes. But you know, like I was telling Al this morning, because you know he's been talking to people about it, and I said, you know, what we have to do, and this kind of goes to Marcus's point about what do we need to do. Like, I'm big on communication. My thing is to communicate, to talk to each other, because that's how we move the ball forward. We just got to keep educating ourselves and each other on what it is we're doing here. So you hear somebody say, I want to vote for Mike Bloomberg, and the first thing you need to ask them is, well, why? Why does Michael Bloomberg deserve your vote? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tie it back to his money. The operative word being his money. You ain't got $60 billion.
Right.
He's got $60 billion. And with this money, yeah, he's done some things with educational blah, 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 blah. But what good is it that I educate your children if I'm locking up their daddies? You know, it does them no good. And so you need to ask them, what has you voting for Mike Bloomberg other than his money? Because like I said, I don't watch TV, but sometimes I listen to the radio a lot when I'm in the car. And I know this because I listen to NPR. I've not heard one Mike Bloomberg. They don't have commercials. But I haven't heard one Mike Bloomberg commercial on there or any of the other, let's say, white stations.
Yeah, because he hasn't come to this circle yet.
Yeah, but I've heard him on the urban stations out here. He's got these nice, glossy ads that's talking about all the things that he's done, but he negates to talk about stop and frisk and the redlining and, you know, talking about how black people caused the 2008 recession and, you know, all of that. He doesn't talk about those things. And so if I'm ignorant to what's going on in politics and I hear this white man come on the radio talk about all the great things he's done, I'm a billionaire and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, then yeah, it sounds appealing, but it's up to you and I, everybody, to educate each other on what it is that they're getting ready to go do. Because more than likely, those would be the same people who will say, well, our ancestors died for our right to vote. And so they're going to go in there and vote for Michael Bloomberg, which is going to split the vote, if you just ask me.
To deny Bernie the
Not understanding exactly what they're doing. And then if Amy Klobuchar looks sexy to you, I'm not talking about physically, but somebody might be into that.
Man, get your bottom teeth
well, I'm not even talking about how she looks. I'm talking about just her appeal politically. Don't forget that as a senator of Wisconsin,
Minnesota.
Minnesota, wherever the hell, it's all the same to me. As a senator and a prosecutor, rather, she locked up black men, specifically a 16-year-old who is now working on 20 years of a life sentence for something he did not do. And in fact, she ran on that as she was running for senator, saying how she got justice for the little girl who unfortunately was murdered by drive-by. But she pegged it on a 16-year-old at the time, running on that as a campaign thing. And now that she's been called to the carpet, she's going to look into it. Amy is not for black people either. And so
there are none of the candidates up there.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why we need to educate each other. That's what we need to start doing, Marcus, to start having these conversations, start waking each other up.
Now, imagine this. If black people as a whole withhold our vote, what do you think that would do to the Democratic Party?
All we have to do it is one time. If we withheld our vote one time, I guarantee you, we would see a major shift. Yeah. Those politicians, specifically Democrats, because they eat and breathe and live off of black votes, would say, let's all sit down to the table, as Dr. Claude Anderson impresses upon us to do. Let's get something in writing. Let's hold them contractually.
And we need to get not them to tell us who our leaders are, because that's their bootlegs. We need to send our representatives that are going to represent us.
That's right.
Period.
And so Sydney says, correction, Donovan, Bloomberg changed the law for himself. Day one of his third administration changed the law back. Yeah, so that's what he did. It benefited him so he can get on in there again. You know?
Absolutely.
Until you say, oops, I have a family member saying they are voting for Bloomberg simply because other black people are. Well, other black people, what else are other things that black people do?
Do you guys now see why we do this show?
Yes, and you say you got to give it to him. He simply advertised that he had the black vote, and now he does. Absolutely. And Samuel, thank you. And so, yes, absolutely. I mean, that's why. It's like I'm going to follow the lead. Like, Tay, you are very bright. I mean, like, Tay is 25, and she's not like a lot of 25-year-olds. She's very aware. And so, Tay, it is up to you because you know differently to have those. And see, this is the thing. When we communicate with each other, we can't ram. I'm not saying you do this, Tay, but we can't ramrod stuff down people's throat. We gotta ask questions.
Right.
Oh yeah, you want to vote for Bloomberg? Why? Well, other black people are doing it. Okay, so why are the other black people doing it?
So if other black people are jumping off the cliff, are you gonna follow too?
Yeah, probably. But I'm just saying. So then ask them, well, why? So what are the other black people doing that has you wanting to follow? So we gotta ask those questions to get people to start thinking. Well, yeah, I am kind of just going along just to do it, right? So we need to start having those conversations with each other. And Al says 300 likes on my black business post.
All right.
Yeah. So and we'll talk about that as well.
Right. But like I said, you talk about we need to start talking among ourselves. I was talking to my oldest nephew, and he wants to go to vocational school to be a barber or whatever he's going to do, and take some classes.
Right.
And I'm sitting there talking to him, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna go get some student loans and whatever I got to do, right?" And I said, why would you get student loans when you have a father that's in the military? I said, what you need to do is go and talk to the counselor and say, hey, my dad is in the military. Is there any benefit that I can get? Because I said, you're going to get probably some debt, but why get all the damn debt? But it goes back to us. We don't talk to each other. We don't ask questions. That's what I told him. I said, if you got a question, I'm your uncle. Ask me.
Right, and we got, and I'll tell a story that about Al. The other day he was in the store shopping, and he said it was a sister with her sister, not his sister, but a sister with a basket full of just nonsense, really. And so he said not that he was eye hustling her basket, but she had like 24 cases of soda, and he said one fell out, and he helped her pick it up. So he said they engaged in a conversation. And then somehow she asked him, she said something like, this is not good what I'm, doing how, or it's not good for you. And he took it upon himself and says, no, it's really not good for you. Have you thought about maybe going to buy some, cause she was saying how busy she was and,
nobody's that busy.
And it's convenient for the kids to eat the junk and drink the sodas. And he said, well, have you thought about maybe going to get some grapes? So he took a moment to not be judgmental, but to educate her. And she says, you know what? She says, you know what? I'm going to go get some stuff, some grapes and all that right now. And so, but it could have been judgmental and said,
Exactly. Because think about it.
Look at that sister, her basket, she's going to kill everybody.
Yeah, but think about it though. To me, her excuse didn't really make sense. And I'm not like judging her, but it doesn't make sense because for the same effort it takes to go get me a bag of chips in the little assorted pack, I can go to the refrigerator and get me a piece of
But
grapes.
My dad always says this. You cannot teach what you don't know. Perhaps that sister didn't really know. As old as he said she was about his age, she probably really didn't know. But he took the time out to educate her, and that's what we need to do. We need to educate each other because it's just possible that, like a lot of people don't know, why they're following other black people to go vote for Bloomberg.
Yeah, and the sad thing is too, sisters, and I'm going to talk to you sisters in particular, yes, you guys are beautiful, yes, we need you, you guys are goddesses, queens, but you can't be a queen if you don't act like one. But just because a brother is talking to you, like say Al's talking to that young lady, just educating her, doesn't mean we're trying to get with you.
Well, that's a whole other horse of a different.
But you know what I mean? Because sometimes it does get confused. Like the guys are trying. No, we're not trying to get with you.
And because I like talking to people, so I'm good at what I do. I tell people all the time. Somebody, a sister thinks, well, you're just trying to holler at me, but like, sister, if I wanted to holler at you, you would know I want to holler at you. You wouldn't have to guess. But right now we're having a different conversation. We can talk about that later if I find you attractive by the things you say. Exactly. But then again,
Yeah, we're visual animals.
Right.
So.
And then Jonelle says, why empower those who don't have your best interest more or less in mind? Our energy should be put toward our people, awareness and self-empowerment. This game of voting has been going on for over 50 years. And if we get drip the cups, run interception. I read that wrong. If we get drip, their cup runs interception and leaves us with pacification. We need to separate from the BS and expose it. As such, absolutely
Oh
having
my
those
God, yes.
conversations with each other.
Absolutely.
Hey, Pamela, what's happening? Says that I was at my brother's on the other day, and they asked me who I was voting for. I was joking and saying I'm not going to vote. I will vote. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're not saying don't vote if you really want to vote and that's your right.
Right.
Please do. But again, sometimes you vote and it's a wasted vote.
Right.
I mean, if it's not in your interest, I'm just going to tell you this: you shouldn't vote that way.
Right. And Al says, don't feel bad, Tay. I have a family who unfortunately likes Bloomberg because he's rich. Yeah. So
how do you acquaint yourself? I remember when Bush Jr. came in, everybody's like, "Oh, I like George Bush because you could drink a beer with him." But he wouldn't drink a beer with you.
At all. He ain't drinking
You know what I mean?
Schmitz.
You're not on that level.
No Colt 45.
Yeah. I don't understand how people think that they're going to be on that level when these people, if you saw the debate.
He's like me.
Right. If you saw the debate, Bloomberg sat there. Yeah, and they all attacked him, but he was like, "I don't give a shit because you guys are not on my level."
I saw bits and pieces. I didn't watch it in entirety. Yeah,
he was like,
I should have had a VA.
Yeah.
Why bring my little bitty cell phone over here? Yes.
I'm here and I'm not even on the ballot. That's how powerful I am.
Yes, and Al, I just told that story, so I beat you to it. And Tay says, let's see. You say, so glad I took a political science class at the time I did. I had the chance to educate my mom who didn't realize the House and the Senate make Congress together, really.
Yeah.
Many people think it's three separate things. So, and it's no shade to your mom, because a lot of people just don't know those things.
Yeah,
but
it's political ignorance because it's so complicated.
But like you said, Tate, thank God that you have the knowledge, and it said each one teach one. See, we're not supposed to hold on to the knowledge. We're supposed to impart it upon each other so that they can take the ball and run with it, right? So, kudos to you for taking the knowledge that you have and educating people, because perhaps your mom will have conversations with people and say, well, child, let me tell you what my daughter said.
Right.
My daughter's smart, so she knows what she's talking about.
And really, within the last 8 years, black people as a whole have really started to pay attention to what's going on in politics, especially the younger people, because there's no future for them.
At all.
And that's a first, because before it was just, I'm going to just vote Democrat because my mama said vote Democrat. My daddy's vote, Democrat. We're just Democrats.
Right. Hey, Reginald says, good evening, my sister. I noticed you have a green background. You should put images on the background. Well, we have a YouTube, so once the video's produced, then you'll see the images. Yeah. That's why we have the green screen. You guys see the green screen on YouTube.
Okay, and you guys, we get that a lot, but see, then we would have to do 2 separate shows.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to put that much work into it. So what we do is right now, we're doing a podcast. We're live.
Yeah.
And we're doing the YouTube. So we're doing it all in one. So it just makes it a little bit easier.
But that's why you see the green screen on Facebook. But it will be in all its glory on Facebook and
YouTube.
my YouTube. My YouTube is Demetra K, and Donovan's is Donovan Sadiq.
Yeah. Or the Inland Empire.
Or the Inland Empire Informer. So that's why you see the green screen. But good evening to you as well.
Yeah, but thanks for I don't think we don't appreciate the tips, but when I'm almost 50 years old,
Donovan, you just can't wait to be 50, huh?
I know, I can't wait. But when you get a certain age, you just like I want to do it as simple as possible and get the information out there as quickly as possible. So.
Yeah. So and like I said, my platform
I think my cat's dead.
Huh?
I think he's dead.
Your cat is dead.
Yeah, look at him.
Is your cat dead for real?
I don't know. Is he breathing? Oh yeah, he's breathing. There he is. All right, he's okay. This cat likes to.
Yeah, I was about to see Donovan do like y'all see the episode of Martin when Mama Payne fell out when her bird died.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have a feral cat, and he's so used to I've had him for over a year now, and he's so used to when he was a feral cat, they're used to being outside, so he sleeps a certain way to where it looks like he's.
I was about to say, Donovan's about to go run around this studio. Ah, Jesus.
Well, I put a lot of money into
my cat done went on to glory.
Yeah.
Take me with you.
Yeah. But remember how raggedy his coat used to be?
Your cat ain't coming back.
Right.
He said, I got 9 lives, but I'm trying to get to heaven.
Right. Remember how his coat is nice now?
Yes.
He has a good diet.
Right. Donovan is taking care of the cats. And Al, you say, no, you didn't tell the rest of the story about how the mom and her son, what she told him. Oh, she said, because she thought that Al is white. Now, Al is mixed. But she it said to him basically, what you know about, black, because he was educating her stuff. What you know about being black? And he says, well, I'm black. And she says, no, you ain't black. And he says, I am. So he shows her a picture of his mom, who was, as dark as Donovan,
He's a DeBarge.
And so she says, the lady is like, come over here, son. Take a picture with this white boy.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that's funny, but
Yeah.
kudos to you, Al.
Yes.
And then Tay, you say, you're gonna make that a song. You said it right. We shouldn't hold on to things. We have too many educated black people who would rather be more elite than their community, than to help their community. Happy for this conversation, distracting me from Mia tearing up the folded laundry. That doggone Mia, I tell you, that girl is busy.
Yes.
When I have her, I'm like, we got to get out the house. We got to go do something, because she is just all over.
I heard that.
And so, yeah, I mean, we, like you said, there's some of us who would rather, I ain't going to tell them what I know. I ain't going to tell them how to get ahead. I ain't going to tell them about this money-saving tips, these stock tips. I ain't going to do none of that. I'm going to keep this to myself.
Right, and then they wonder why, then when the grandkids come and have no help.
Oh, no, when they go try to go hang out with white people
Right.
people like, not going back over there to the black people. Oh, no, I can't go back over to them because, I spend all my time shunning them. So I'm trying to come be with you,
Right, the Omarosas of the...
Yeah, Omarosa. Did you find out where she's at?
She was on MSNBC.
Doing what?
Cooning.
Help!
Yeah.
Help me!
But she popped up on Sunday AM Joy.
Oh, yeah?
Of course.
What was she talking about?
She was just talking about how Trump is,
tried to poison her coffee.
Yeah, or
I
something.
can't drink coffee,
But
leave my
look,
cup open too long.
Yeah, but notice they didn't bring up the so-called recording she has from all the meetings.
Yeah. Well, at least we know she's still alive.
Yeah.
Because I was concerned about the sister
good.
for a minute. And then Reggie said the brother looks great for his age.
Oh,
yes.
thank you very much. Thank you.
But he acts like he's 12 sometimes. Okay, that's probably what helps. And
Yeah.
Jonelle says, Cat Heaven can wait too. Okay, right. Why cats get 9 lives? Why they don't just have one?
Right.
Why they keep coming back?
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, so, so, like I said, we got to communicate to each other. Like, I'm not one of those people to go out there and, like, I do stuff. Don't get me wrong, I do stuff on an individual basis for people, but I'm not a big organizer, if you will, but I love talking to people. If you give me a moment of your time, you're going to learn something. I'm going to teach you something. We're going to, iron sharpens iron. We're going to talk. You're going to learn something. That is my platform, is to spread knowledge, right? And that's what we need to do. Don't hold on to it. Give it. And Reggie says, you do know that NOI, FBI and CIA know. I did not know that. That because
it's inferred.
Well,
but we don't know that for fact.
Reggie.
Deep breath.
No, I'm not just. We don't know that. We don't know that. We do know that the CIA and the FBI murdered Malcolm X, but like this is my thing, and I'm not trying to, I'm really, it's in my head. I'm just trying to figure out how to say it. There's a lot of information out there to debunk the fact that the nation killed Malcolm. We know that the nation and Malcolm was under surveillance while he was in prison. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was under surveillance for years and years and years. Like a lot of people were under surveillance, right? So if the nation killed Malcolm, Farrakhan's talk about it all the time. He said, "I'm one of the freest black men walking on earth." Don't you think? And I say and do what I want to do. Don't you think if I had something to do with Malcolm's murder, that I'd be in jail? And of course, you're gonna have some people say, "Well, Farrakhan is an informant. He's working for that." Come on. All the hell Farrakhan raising with white folks and Jewish people, telling us, come on. I mean, look at Jesse Jackson got off script just a little bit, and they outed him with the love child, and Jesse Jackson ain't been Black Power since. Okay? They bought Al Sharpton over because I'm pretty sure they got some dirt on Al Sharpton. And Al Sharpton. So there's a lot of people. So we keep saying that the nation killed Malcolm, he did not. In fact, we know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the nation, do not cause any harm to Malcolm.
Wink, wink. No, I'm joking.
No, at all. You know, it is also said that Malcolm was thinking about going back to the nation before he was murdered. So, I mean, there's a lot of speculation out there, and I know this Netflix documentary has come out. It was actually, I think, on the ID network. But this is the kind of like the problem that I have with the whole R. Kelly thing. Like, R. Kelly has done some dirt. I'm not saying he hasn't, but we allow white people to tell
The
us
narrative.
the stuff we should have already known about R. Kelly. And all of a sudden, R. Kelly, R. Kelly. Come on, we know R. Kelly had a propensity for young girls a long time ago, but white folks have fashioned this big, shiny documentary that ran for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Now all of a sudden, everybody hates R. Kelly.
Well, what kills me is, you know, how hypocritical are we? I happen to know in the small town that I was born in, and even other towns, you have older men that prey on these young girls. You know, this guy's like 52, and his baby mama, one of his many baby mamas, is 19.
Right.
And we act like, oh, that's okay, but R. Kelly does it. Oh, God, oh,
and it's
God.
wrong either way, but we allow we allow white media to tell us what to think.
New. Come on, let's be real.
Right, and you know, and as I said too, Savior's Day is on Sunday. I can't wait. I'm almost now willing to do my show because whenever I do my show, I miss some of the Savior's Day address. But I really do hope Farrakhan addresses that.
Get off your asses!
Again. I really hope. I'm looking because it's so like it's gonna be fired. I was actually supposed to go with my siblings and my dad, but my dad is not really up to speed to go right now, and we just really couldn't get it together. And so
chicken fluffy.
I should take my niece, right? But God willing, we will be there next year, right? But my brother, he's still talking about flying out Saturday and coming back after it's over. So we'll see. So anyway, and Tay says y'all should have a show about the black family dynamics. Yes, well I'm gonna write that down. Maybe I'll do that Sunday. And you know, usually when I do my show after the Savior's Day address, I like to take some talking points and talk about it. So maybe I'll incorporate that. And Reginald says check out Umar Shabazz documentary. Okay. And he also said Malcolm X said on camera that the nation was trying to kill him. I mean, speculation. You know, maybe he thought that they really were, but did they kill him?
Right.
But did they kill him? I mean, you think about not only that, but think about what Malcolm was doing. He was going against the nation, so I think that would be logical for him to think that. But that don't mean that they actually did it. I mean, there's so much. Go research it.
But yeah, let's go back to the COINTELPRO. They say President Kennedy was killed by the CIA and stuff like that. I mean, but yet they put up a patsy.
Right.
To everybody look this way versus that way. Malcolm X. They say during, not Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. James Earl Ray, until the day he died, said I didn't do it.
But then you have all this information coming out about how he actually was alive, but then he was murdered by the doctor, a doctor or a nurse or somebody smothered him in a doggone hospital.
Right. So, I mean, all I'm saying is it possible, and it happens in the military, you shoot a diversion shot over here to get everybody looking at the patsy while the real perpetrators go on.
Just like they told us a man landed on the moon.
Right. I don't know how people can believe that when, if we landed on the moon, why haven't we gone back in all this time with all the technology we have now? I don't believe it. So.
Al says it was on the Breakfast Club and Nuri Muhammad, yes, Deek's brother, explained what happened. What people needed to know about Brother Malcolm. But you know, there's just some people who aren't going to believe that because they want to believe, not saying this is true about you, Reginald, a lot of people want to believe the white narrative because if the white man tells us, then it's true. But if black people try to tell you, well, no, I don't know about that because whoop-de-whoop said and woo-woo-woo-woo. But you can go get the archives and information from the FBI yourself. I mean, you can read those, the follow fire. You can go find that stuff out yourself.
Yeah, but, you know, and maybe some of the documents, like a lot of the real documents, have been destroyed. So,
right.
You know, but what they have, you can go and check out.
Yes, and Jonelle, you say, Jonelle, who is a staunch member of the NOI, you say, if Malcolm X's wife and daughter debunked the nation killed Malcolm X, why are you not aware? Big Gregory did a whole thing on YouTube, and also we just released a book called Didn't Y'all Kill Malcolm? Get the book. We live in a white nation that killed their own president, right? And the same thing Donovan just said about JFK, and so you have his being Malcolm X's own family saying that the nation didn't do it, but yet You have everybody else keep like what? This is my thing. Like I'm not in the Nation of Islam, but I was born into the nation. My father's been a member for over like 55 years. All of his life, my dad has been Fruit of Islam. Okay, but I lost my train of thought because I had got mad really quick. So I'll give. This is what I was gonna say.
Right.
Old age.
Old age.
The nation has been cleaning up black people since its inception. Malcolm X being one of them.
Yes.
Malcolm X being one of the people that the nation cleaned up to trying to help black people get up. As Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. Stop doing the things that are holding us back, like the nation is doing this for black men and women, but yet we continuously, and this is why black people don't have what we should have, because we keep tearing down the very entities and people that are trying to help us get ahead. Farrakhan is free. I mean, hell, he fashioned over 1 million men in Washington in 1995 and gave us the blueprint. Gave black men the blueprint of what to do to become better, but yet we want to tear down the nation. And I'm speaking from what I know of my father, who had a troubled youth. As a child, he was troubled. He spent time in juvenile. What do they call it?
Boys.
I forget what they called it. He did a year in it was something like a boys' town type thing. A jail for kids. You know, and when he was 19, he happened upon the nation, and he has, he said it changed his life. So, and I know countless other people who have that story. So why are we mad at the nation for cleaning black people up and telling them to get knowledge of self and do
be responsible
and baffles me.
Take care of your business.
But most of the people who, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm sorry, but most of the people who hate on the Nation of Islam are staunch members of the NAACP who ain't did nothing for black people. In fact, NAACP, no shade to y'all, but you guys were started by white people, and you what are you doing? What are you doing? Right? You show up here and there, but what are you actually bringing black people off the street and cleaning them up?
Let's look at their record. What has the NAACP done?
I mean, like when I go visit my father
recently. Yeah,
right. I go visit my father, and I get upset about people talking about that. And like I said, I'm not a member, but I get upset about people talking bad about the nation because they don't know what they're talking about. Like when I go visit my dad, it brings joy to me when I see these young brothers who are new in the nation, like they sit around my dad and they soak up all this knowledge and wisdom, like they have a thirst to be better. So when I see that, I'm like, this is a good thing, But yet, I like we give so much credit to white supremacy and the oppressor, but we want to dog something like the Nation of Islam. That's why Marcus Garvey ain't here, because black people bought into white supremacy of, Marcus Garvey, he ain't, he's causing fraud. He's doing mail fraud. And so they take down Marcus Garvey, who had 3 million black people worldwide in the 1920s without television, telephone, social media, any of that stuff. Black people ready to go do this, and a freaking $25 mail fraud took down Marcus Garvey and the whole UNIA movement. And that's the same thing that black people, along with white supremacy, have been trying to do to the Nation of Islam ever since. So at some point in time, we got to follow some blueprint as black people and get on board. Let's stop this divisiveness, because we are going to die with nothing. We are going to become extinct. We've not moved from 13% of the population since the 60s. But yet we want to talk about who killed Malcolm. Damn all of that right now, because whoever did it ain't going to bring Malcolm back. But let's bring Malcolm back by doing the stuff he asked us to do.
Take out the Malcolm X
like I said the other day, y'all talking about, I know who killed Malcolm, but you don't know nothing Malcolm talking about. But you know who killed him? Can you tell me something you've done in the last 24 hours that Malcolm X has asked us to do? I'm just asking. Let me get to these comments. I'm sorry. How's your ear? Good. You're good. Okay.
I know they're big and everything, but.
Let's see. Ooh, I done worked up a sweat, y'all. I feel like that's how pastors be feeling, huh?
The spirit.
Right. And then Al says, Will the nation live stream Savior's Day since the minister doesn't have a Facebook page? Yes, they will. Go to NOI.org. You can find it there. And many other people, as they say, we are Farrakhan, will be streaming it live on Facebook. I will post the link. A lot of people will post the link. So you will have no excuse not to watch it. Please watch it. And hey, Huey, and I ain't forgot about you. Huey wants me to come out there and speak.
Okay.
At his event in March. I'm just trying to get it because I like Huey. If you could spend a day in the life of Demetra K, you'd be like, whoa.
Right now,
this chick is busy.
Yeah. The minimum fee for her is $500 for appearances, and you could make that table to Donovan Sadiq.
And you say. Yes, they did kill him. 5 people, the FBI knew he was going to get killed. There was no security watch. In the documentary, a dude named William Bradley from New Jersey killed him. You talking about which documentary now? You talking about the one that was produced by white people? Talking about that one? And Reginald, you say, people get mad at R. Kelly for sleeping with young girls, but what about Elijah Muhammad and cheating on his wife, Clara Muhammad, by impregnated girls? Well, also, see, you got to hear both sides of the story. You're listening to what white people and a lot of disgruntled black people are telling you, but if you listen to the whole story, then you'll probably see it a lot differently. That's all I'm saying to you. And Jonelle, you say majority follow slander and you said majority follow slander and take slander for facts, but by all means listen to our colonizers who have not truly loved us past, present, and still going. We work for our elevation and liberation. Has European Zionist-owned America done such? What's their record of killing us and our leadership? Yeah, but we gonna take what they're saying about us. Come on now, like you can't be. And I know a lot of y'all follow the Bible. What does the Bible tell you? Don't be lukewarm. Right. Choose. Either you gonna follow the oppressor or you're not gonna believe. But he's like Jonelle said, he has murdered us and our leaders from since we've been over here and beyond. Now all of a sudden we taking his word as gospel? How? Do one or the other. Don't be lukewarm. And then Jonelle says, yes, majority of all events will be on NOI.org webcast. Yes. And then Redwood says, Nation of Islam started by a white man, Farah Wallace Muhammad. Oh, okay, Lord have mercy. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with really? How do you know he was white? Show me where he was white. And you say you love Marcus Garvey. Okay, well, if you love Marcus Garvey, what are you doing? Like, would Marcus Garvey want you to participate in being divisive? Would he want you to do that? I mean, Marcus Garvey, because same thing that you're doing, and no shade to you, rather, the same thing that you're doing and participating in is the same thing that happened to Marcus Garvey. So how can you, out of your mouth or on your words on Facebook, say that you love Marcus Garvey when you're doing the same thing that was done to him? How can you say that? Like, because a lot of times we just say stuff. But what are you doing? Like, I bet if I go on your page right now, I could be wrong. I bet you said some stuff about Malcolm X today. Maybe haven't. But what are you actually doing? Are you moving the ball forward for black people, or are you just continuing to participate in being divisive? And so we're about to get out of here. You said we need justice for Malcolm. Okay, so then what after that? You get justice, and then what? Then what you gonna do? And Jonelle says, black women are truly our future. Salute, Queen. Absolutely. Thank you. And you also say that Honorable Elijah Muhammad had wives, not girlfriends. You slander what you know, not stop embracing hearsay. Absolutely. And so we're going to get out of here because Donovan actually has something to do. And so I don't
have nothing to do. My dog has an appointment. So
his dog has an appointment. So we're going to get out of here and we can continue this conversation on Sunday. I would love to do that. So you guys, please join us on Sunday. And thank you so much, everybody. YouTube, please like and subscribe. You guys on Facebook, thank you so much for being the other part of the conversation. And I will see you, me and Donovan will see you on Sunday. Peace.